You guys hear me? Sweet. Welcome back, my friends, to our movement of Budokon flavored flows. I'm happy to have you guys, some new faces, or newer faces, and some repeats from the past 2 weeks. So this series that I've been teaching was all created with the idea of how can I introduce Budokon to the community of yogis. So just trying to get yogis to be more open to the idea of Budokon instead of just seeing it on the schedule and being like, what is that? I'm not going to do it. I'm scared. Or they'll look up and they'll see Cameron on YouTube doing crazy shit and then they'll just not come. So this was my way of getting people in the door. And I think you're hopefully going to really enjoy our class today. So we're all going to actually begin our class in plow. So more of a combat plow. So Budokon combat plow, rather than being all the way up on your neck like a yogic plow, I want us to take it down further on our backs as much as you can. So that could look like bringing your hands to your hips to hold yourself here. You can bend through the knees and even swivel your legs from side to side. Take some time to either melt into this space or find some micro movements from side to side. You can cross your ankles and kind of move your hips from side to side. It depends on how comfortable you are in this position, but we're going to move into and out of this position a lot today. So take these first few breaths to explore this container. You can find some ankle rolls. And again, if you're just joining in, go as low on your back as you can without falling out of this. So you can test your core strength by releasing your hands and seeing where that edge is, or you can keep your hands based and just keep staying supple and rounded in this space, this inverted forward fold. Good. And take one more deep breath in here. Exhale to release. Bend your knees and slowly scroll up or roll up into a boat pose. Here in this boat, bring your hands behind your thighs to really lift and puff up into your chest to find this nice opening, and then maybe the hands can return back out for balance. Bring your feet about mat's width distance and then set them down onto the mat. Staying active in our feet, bring your hands to your knees and round through your spine here. So really lean back and use their hands to hold on and really round and breathe into this space. And then alternatively, we'll melt our heart forward and press our heart in between the window of our knees. So this action of rounding back and forth here for a few breaths in your own time. Really try to articulate this movement in the spine as you round. You can draw your chin into your chest. You can even lean from side to side to find some movements in those shoulders. Breathe some more space there. And as you come forward, you can even bring the knees side to side, open up through the hips a little bit. Yes. Last time to round. And then inhale, rise, press through. Find yourself back through our boat. And then reach in opposite direction. Slower than you want to, lower down through this hollow body shape. And then the arms can reach up and overhead. Use your core to bring the legs up to the sky and then up and over our head back into that combat plow. Good. Bend your knees, rolling back, forward, and through with control to our boat. Set the feet down, same, so mat's distance apart. Active toes, flex through your feet. We're going to lower both knees down to the right to find an S-seat configuration here. And then draw them back up. Keep your feet where they are. Draw your knees up to the sky, and then take them to the opposite side. S-seat configuration. I'll turn so you guys can see. So draw them back up to the sky, over to the opposite side. Here, reach your left hand for the outside of your right knee and find a twist over your right shoulder. Press your left hip forward to find a little bit of extra sensation going down that front part of your left thigh and hip flexor. Deep breath in here, gazing over the shoulder even more as you bridge that hip forward. Take it back up through center. Keep the feet nice and active as the knees rise. Your hands can be behind you as well. You can just make this more of a hip mobility situation. Shift your knees to the opposite side. Bridging this right hip forward, reach your right hand outside of your left knee and find this nice twist here. Still bridging actively through that back hip. Finding length through your spine, exhaling to twist and go a little deeper. Take one more deep breath in here. Really bridge it forward, twist a little more. Exhale back through center to the opposite side. Good. And here, find a quick twist. Or you can even, instead of twisting, bring your hand behind you for this situation where you can really focus on undulating even this back hip forward and back. So slowly finding this movement to undulate into the side body. Good. We're really just looking for sensation here. I don't care what it looks like exactly, but we're opening up into this left hip flexor. Make it feel nice and juicy. Good. Going back up through center. Feet connect. Knees go high to the sky, over to the opposite side. And same thing here. Go for that twist or find these kind of undulations now through this right side. Playing with sensation. Breathing into the space. Good. Back up through center. The knees rise to the opposite side, adding on a little bit more. Here, point your toes. Shift your weight forward. Come onto your knees and bridge your hips forward to the sky or out in front of you. And then we'll slowly descend. You can use your hand to base, but lower those hips back down to the mat. Flex your toes again. Draw the knees back up to the sky, over to the opposite side. Point the toes, base your hand if you need it, and shift your hips forward here. Beautiful. Really squeezing the glutes as we bridge forward and releasing ourselves back down, back to the opposite side. So just shifting the knees over for an S seat and then bridging up. And returning down, counterbalancing with that reach or basing the hands to the opposite side and bridging those hips up. Heck yeah. Lower it down. Opposite side, this time adding on a little bit more. As we switch to the right, we'll base the right hand, sweep your left hand across the horizon as you bridge your hips up for a little bit more of a side body stretch here. So as you bridge the hips forward, you can let this arm kind of circle around. You can find some cactusing open. Playing with some different sensations here, finding a little more awakening in this side line of your body as you keep bridging the back hip forward. Slowly descend. Flex back through the toes, knees rise back up to the sky, to the opposite side. Pointing, base the left hand now, bridge as you sweep the right hand up and overhead. And here, You can find some waving wands of your arms. You can cactus it open, keep bridging and breathing into the sideline of your body. Exhale, lower it down. Let's go 2 on each side, a little more smoothly. So as we lower the knees down, we base the hand. Just 1 sweep to open. And then exhale, return back down. To the opposite side we go. Basing the hand, sweeping the other hand up to the sky, bridging, and exhaling back down. Last time on this side, basing, bridging, sweeping, opening. Exhale, return down. Last one. To the left, we base, we bridge, we sweep, open, and take it back down. As we come to center, we'll find ourselves going back through this boat position. So finding a nice strong boat, nice proud chest, descend in opposite directions simultaneously, finding that hollow body. Get the sneaky core work in all class long. Reach the hands through center, up overhead. Use your core to allow the legs to go up and over all the way to this combat plow. Good. Go ahead here. Rotate out your ankles. Stay supple. Take 1 more deep breath in, wherever you are. And exhale. Bend your right knee. Place your right ankle behind your left kneecap. Slowly, keeping this figure 4 shape that we have in our bodies, rock your way up into that boat with the figure 4. Yes. Challenging our balance on our sits bones. Set our feet down now into this combat base-ish position. So this bottom leg, we want it to be parallel with the front of our mat. We want it to be pretty close underneath us, pointing through those toes. This front foot, we want it in line with our left hip. So left toes in line with the left hip. Make sure there's enough distance here between this back foot and this front heel, because we're going to shift our weight forward next. So make sure you kind of adjust yourself as needed. You can use the hands to shift yourself forward and kind of pull your hips forward here into this warrior's base. Beautiful. And then descend back down. And you can always use your hand here. So you can either not use your hands, or what it looks like to use your hand would just be to base your right hand and kind of go around this right hip to rise up. So really using that based hand. And again, to lower down, you can base to descend with control all the way down. It's kind of assisting your hips. So you can go up and down. Beautiful. Doing that a couple times, feeling that out. And reversing our directions here. We'll find ourselves back into a boat to lower ourselves all the way down with control. As much control as we can muster to that hollow body, to reach the arms overhead, followed by the legs, up into that yummy combat plow. Bend the left knee, bring your left ankle behind your right to create that figure 4 shape. Slowly roll yourself up to find that balancing figure 4 boat. Lower the feet down. So notice your spacing, setting ourselves up for success on this side. You can base the hand, and we're just going to play with shifting forward and back here, whether you want the hand or not. It's up to you. Play with both. See what it feels like. But just notice how I will reach forward and kind of pull myself up, and then reach to counterbalance myself as I go back down. Beautiful. Good work. Getting deep into these hips today. Breathing into them. All right, finding ourselves into our boat. Going in opposite directions to descend. The hands will reach overhead, followed by those legs, all the way into our plow. Beautiful. And I forgot to mention this to you guys, but if plow is just not working for you today, you can just have your legs go straight up into the sky, like a little leg up the wall situation. Just FYI. All right, everyone else, we're all on our plows, adding on a lot more this time. So bend your right knee, place your right ankle behind your left kneecap. Creating that figure four once more. We'll roll ourselves up with control and set ourselves down into this combat base. Basing the right hand if you wish, shifting our weight forward, we'll find warrior's base. Curl the back toes under here. Draw your right knee into your left ankle. Shift the weight strong into the left foot to draw your right knee to connect to the left, your right heel towards your sits bone, hands to sword mudra, interlacing all of your fingers except for the pointer fingers, and really squeeze your shoulders behind your back. So nice active back line, flat back, parallel to the ground. And here, let's reach in opposite directions, keeping a micro bend in our standing legs. We're going for a warrior three, so reaching the toes back, piercing strongly as we pierce our fingertips forward, keeping the hips nice and square here. Stay strong, take a deep breath in. Now draw your back knee into your chest as you hinge from your hips and draw your hands to heart center to find a proud warrior. Yes. And extend the legs straight out for a kicking warrior. Recoil. And here, slowly step this back foot into a more narrow lunge. Keeping our hands at heart center, keeping our posture, head stacked over our hips here. Shifting back forward in slow motion like we're kicking, drawing the knee into our chest. Continue that motion to extend the leg out, recoil it, and send it back. So really slow and mindful movement to find this kicking action. Shifting the knee back into the chest, extending the leg out, recoiling, really testing our balance today, and lower back down. Now, on this last one here, let's see if we can make it dynamic. So as we shift the weight forward, see if you can snap that leg and then take it back for the lunge. Good, let's do two more just like that. Snapping it and back, and use that power as you lower down. Now shift here back into our flamingo pose. Reach back into our warrior three. Hips square, slowly bend the front knee so the back toes can reach the ground. Hover the back knee off the mat and draw now your sword towards your face as you posture up. So now as it's coming towards your face, deflect your sword off and cactus your arms out to the side, opening across your chest, and then sweep your hands forward as you lean and reach forward for something really delicious and yummy that you want to splash all over your face. So have this drawing action as you draw it back to you to spill all over your face. And then again, last time, reaching forward. Maybe it's like an ice bucket of ice cold water if you're feeling hot. And you just take it to the face as you reach the arms out to the side. Now, let this front leg become straight-ish as the hands lower down to either side of this front leg. And here, allow yourself some deep, juicy breaths, finding yourself undulating, melting over this front leg, and perhaps rounding back up. And breathe into this space. Let every breath untangle the knots. Good. Shift your weight forward to find a 90-degree bend in this front knee. Back toes root down to warrior two stance. So the knife edge is rooted. Sweep your right fingertips slower than you want to, forward, and then up. Windmill them all the way up to drag your torso to find a warrior two with the front palm up. Sinking low into the stance, breathing here. Take one more energetic sink deeper into the space and let the top arm rise, transitioning to our horse stance. Left arm rises, right arm lowers, pivot both your feet to find that 45-degree angle to pause here for a moment in our horse stance this first time through. Curl the tailbone forward, sink low, relax your shoulders. Keeping the back foot where it is, extend the knife edge of the front leg straight and diagonal slice your arms to be parallel with that front leg. Keep your hands together, blade fingers, creating that shield up high and down low. Breathe deeply and feel the energetic power of this pose. If you were with Kimba for his session about feeling into thoughts, right? Feeling the emotion behind it. We can also feel the emotion behind our poses. So feeling the strength of this double block. Feel your power come to life here. Animate in your body. Slowly, let's lower ourselves into a skandasana at the back of the mat. So left toes rise. And let's walk ourselves forward and back. So maybe this looks higher for you, and you're kind of just shifting from side to side. If you're really tight in your hips, or you can be down low and walk yourself from side to side using your hands or not. It's up to you. But go slower than you would like to here, that you typically would, a slower pace, because I want you to feel into every part of this transition from side to side. Where do I have to stick the opposite toes up to the sky? Or if I'm up higher, where do I have to shuffle my feet slightly so I can go from side to side? With ease, with a little bit more grace, possibly less effort. When next time you come to the back of your mat, I want you to lower yourself all the way down to the mat. So we're in this low drop stance, bum on the ground. Draw the left extended leg in to your midline, rooting the knife edge of this foot. So I'm going to turn myself so you guys can see me. Find one warrior's bridge here. So basing in our 3 points, the right fingertips will sweep across the horizon as we bridge up into our hips. Yes, gaze to the top hand. Exhale, lower it down. 2 more just like that. Big sweeping bridge up. Make sure that right foot is based. The left knife edge is rooted. Exhale, lower down. And last one. Big sweeping bridge up. Gazing up here. Exhale, lower it down. Beautiful. From this position, we are going to find one external dancing dog. So if you came with me last week, you'll know where we're going. If not, just follow along to the cues. So extended heel is going to draw in towards our butt. Base your left hand and square off your hips. Sorry, that was your right hand. Base your right hand, square off your hips. Extend your right leg and draw your left knee to your left armpit. Create the biggest circle that you can with this left knee as you base the knife edge of the right foot and reach the toes back for the mat behind you and slowly descend down into a seated half squat on the opposite side. Beautiful. So in case we didn't get to the right spot, the right leg is extended and the left knee is bent. I'm going to face the way I should be on the mat so you guys can see. Draw your extended leg in a little bit closer towards you here. Reach now your left hand across the mat. Let the back foot trail behind you like a scorpion so we can lower ourselves down all the way into a prone position here. Yes, so if we ended up in a weird spot on your mat, just go ahead and have your body facing the front of your mat on your belly. Perfect. Okay, drawing your hands in to either side of your rib cage here, finding 2 dolphin rolls here. So basically a cobra roll where we just melt our heart down. So drawing our knees forward, untucking our toes down onto the mat, curling our tailbone down as we begin to press the ground away, rounding through our spine, melting our hips chin to chest. And as we unfurl, we just melt and descend back down into the mat. Beautiful. Let's do another one just like that. Knees draw forward, untucking the toes. Curl the tailbone down, press, round, ripple, melt, and come all the way back down into this space on our belly and prone. Beautiful. Here I want us to reach our arms behind us, pierce back through our toes, squeeze your inner thighs towards one another, and lift. Breathe into this space. See if you can sustain and puff up a little bit more into your heart. So reaching back actively and sending that breath in. That's all we need to do here, really. Breathing into the discomfort. But it's so good to find these nice backline openers, especially with all this plowing that we're doing this morning or evening, depending on where you are. Take one more deep breath in to lift, squeeze, and exhale it down. Bring your hands to either side of your rib cage. 1 cobra roll to upward facing dog now. Draw your knees forward. Place the tops of the feet down. Curl your tailbone down. Press, ripple through the spine, melt the hips, and open up all the way to your upward facing dog. Strong through your legs, charging up, engaging your glutes, really opening across your shoulders or across your collarbones. Draw your chin into your chest and press yourself into your cobra hood plank with the tops of the feet down. And then keep turning or drawing your chin into your chest and shift your hips back to a downward facing dog. 1 foot turns over at a time. Take some breaths here. Find any micro movements that you'd like to awaken into the back line. Really spread out through those fingertips, weight into the internal part of your wrist, wrapping the triceps back and down. Beautiful. Lift high to the balls of your feet. Curl your tailbone towards your face as you round and ripple yourself forward into that leaning cobra hood plank, and then melt those hips all the way down at an angle, unfurling, creating that full rolling wave into upward facing dog. Strong here, through your legs, through your hands, pressing down, pierce your right toes back, pointing back to the back of the mat. Now, big press into our cobra hood. We're going to draw that right knee into our chest. So big press, big drawing in, and then step your right foot down in between your hands, and immediately the back toes are going to slide towards the front toes at an angle. So as it gets closer, we'll lower down through the shin and the knee, finding that warrior's base, then basing perhaps your left hand to lower the hips down onto your mat, transitioning through our boat pose. In opposite directions, we lower ourselves down all the way to the ground. Reaching the arms up and overhead. Legs rise. Use that core to take it up and over. Take a few breaths here to settle in to the space, to get a little more supple through your knees and your spine. Doing everything on the opposite side now, so we know where we're going-ish. And bend now your left knee to bring your left ankle behind the right. Create that figure four. Slowly shift yourself forward into this floating figure four boat to set ourselves up for success. Combat base, left hand bases. Shift the weight forward into warrior's base. Now back toes curl under. Slide the left knee into the right ankle. Shift your weight forward onto this right foot to draw your knees to connect, finding our flamingo, kissing your shoulder blades behind your back. Simultaneously reaching the fingertips forward, piercing the back toes back. We find our warrior three, squared hips. Take a deep breath in here. Keep a micro bend in your standing leg and draw your knee and hands into your chest as you posture up to find a proud warrior with the shoulders relaxed down away from your ears. Slowly extend the ball of the foot in front of you for kicking warrior, and then recoil it back in. Slowly we'll step now this back foot to find that little lunge, staying nice and postured up in our spine here. Good. Shift the weight back forward, draw the knee into your chest. Find the extension, slow motion, kicking and recoiling to set it back onto the mat. Trying to find the seamless movement and control this last time to draw it in slowly to find the kick in slow motion to base it back down. Now here, finding one more dynamic kick up and recoil it back in and send it back. Do two more just like that. A little more dynamic, make it fun for you as you lower down. Then we'll hinge from our hips, shift forward back into our flamingo, and extend. Fingertips forward, piercing the toes back. Warrior three, bend through the front knee, reach the back toes for the back of the mat. Hover the back knee, draw your sword hands towards your face as you posture up. So shoulders stack over hips to draw the hands in and then deflect them off to the side, opening into the cactus arms to then sweep and reach for something you want to bring towards you. And actively, like there's resistance, draw it back and then splash it all over your being. And again, last one, big sweeping reach forward, drawing it back to disperse it all over you. And here the hands will lower down to either side of the front leg, allowing that leg to become straight-ish. And send your breath here. You can flex the toes towards your face, rounding and rippling. And taking any micro movements that you'd like. Of course, sinking into stillness is always an option. Where does the breath need to meet the intensity that you're feeling in this leg? Shift your weight forward into this front foot. Knife edge of the back foot is slowly going to lower down. Warrior two architecture in our feet. Sweep the left fingertips forward and let them windmill yourself all the way up to find warrior two. Beautiful. Sinking in here energetically for a breath or two, posting in opposite directions. Transitioning to horse stance. Right arm will rise, left arm will lower as we pivot our feet to find those 45 degrees. Stay low on your hips, curl the tailbone forward, actively reaching up. Back foot stays where it is. Extend the right leg straight, the knife edge roots and diagonals. Slice those arms to become parallel with the front leg. Really flex those fingertips. And again, tap into that warrior here and feel the empowering emotions that you can associate with this posture. For a few breaths, sinking deeper and picturing that future self 3 to 5 years from now, accomplishing everything that you want to have accomplished. Take one more deep breath into this space and slowly lower yourself down to a skandasana at the back of your mat. So right toes will go up as you extend that leg up to the sky, and slowly walk yourself back and forward here. Slower than you want to, moving from side to side. And again, you can always be up higher as you transition. Like you're moving through a double block in your feet, a horse stance in your feet, and then a double block on the opposite side. This is always a beautiful option to get in the active range of motion of your hips. Yeah, I know you're going to feel it a little bit more if you're up higher, so good work. Lower yourself down all the way to the back of your mat with the right leg extended. Slide those right toes directly out in front of you or at an angle, and have the knife edge of this right foot based, left foot based completely, right hand based. So 3 points of contact, sweeping left fingertips across the horizon to bridge up to the sky, gaze up, and exhale, lower it down. 2 more of these warrior bridges here. Sweeping, basing into our points to lift, exhale to lower, and last one, bridging up, nice and strong. Exhale, lowering it down. Beautiful. Setting up for our external dancing dog. Slide your back hand in so your shoulder is stacked over your wrist. Draw your right heel towards your bum. Lift your hips to hover. Base left hand, square off your hips to the ground. Extend the left leg. Draw your right knee to right armpit. Create that big circle with the right knee. Come to the knife edge of the left foot. Reach right toes down for the ground as you slowly descend. Yes, really good. Yeah. Okay, so left leg is extended. Slide that left leg down on your mat slightly and reach right fingertips across your mat. Let the back foot trail. Make it feel good as it scorpions all the way to replace yourself on your belly for prone. Let's take 2 dolphins here. So knees draw forward, untuck your toes, curl the tailbone down as you press, ripple through the spine, and immediately melt yourself back down. Another one just like that. Knees draw forward, untucking the toes, curl your tailbone as you press the ground away, chin to chest, to melt all the way down. Beautiful. From this position, let's reach our hands to interlace behind our back. Maybe sword mudra here, if you can go for that. Pierce that sword back as you lift up across your chest, lift up through those legs, pierce those toes back, and hug the inner thighs towards one another. If this bind isn't working for you, you can let go and just reach those arms out as we did before. Totally fine. Keep lifting and squeezing. Every breath allowing you to sustain and recalibrate deeper into the space. Allow the shaking to be there. Allow the jiggling to be there. Take one more deep breath in and really expand and lift. And exhale. Whew. Release it down. For a moment, let's stack our fists and allow the head to relax down onto this architecture. You can draw your heels up to the sky and kind of sway your hips from side to side. Just giving ourselves a moment to marinate in all the yumminess that's been happening in our hips. Allowing these flavors to kind of meld together, to simmer and mature. Excellent. Let those toes go down to the mat as we draw our hands back to either side of our rib cage to set ourselves up for a cobra roll to upward facing dog. So draw those knees in forward, untuck the toes, curl the spine down as you ripple yourself up all the way into your upward facing dog expression. Strong legs, chin draws into your chest. Big press into your cobra hood and ripple back, one foot turning over at a time into downward facing dog. Take a moment, settle in here for a breath. Exhale to melt the chest a little bit deeper, find a little more length through the spine. Lift high to the balls of the feet, curl your tailbone towards your face as you round and ripple forward into a rolling wave to upward facing dog. So melting those hips at an angle back into upward facing dog here. Strong press, strong legs, strong core as you pierce the left toes to the back. Big press into our cobra hood to draw the left knee into our chest to step the foot down. And between our hands, immediately sliding those back toes in at an angle to place the shin and the knee down, all at that angle, so we can base our right hand, perhaps lowering the hips down to combat base into our boat. We made it through both sides of this journey in our boat, rolling down now to hollow body, to reach the arms overhead, followed by the legs, back into the plow. And breathe here. Bend your knees, stay supple. Moving through each side now with less repetition, a little more fluidity of movement, and breathing throughout all the sensations that arise. Allowing yourselves to marinate in the experience as it's happening. Staying so mindful of the details, of the little nuances of our movement, and keeping that slow pace so we can stay in tune with what's happening and control the movement in our body. Excellent. Bend now your right knee, place the right ankle behind the left. Create that figure four. Roll yourself up into your boat. To base into combat base, right hand bases to the outside of the right hip to shift yourself forward into warrior's base. Curl the back toes under, slide your knee in to connect to the ankle. Shift your weight forward into the left foot to flamingo pose, hands at sword mudra. Extending ourselves to find our warrior three. And drawing our hands into heart center, knee into our chest for our proud warrior. One slow motion kick forward and recoil it back in to step back into a lunge for one dynamic kick at the top when you're ready. finding that kick, but find your balance into this proud warrior, because we're going to transition from here into our warrior 3 once more, extending ourselves in opposite directions. Hips square, bend through the front leg so the back toes lower down onto the mat. Lower the back knee to hover as you draw your sword towards your face to posture up into your spine, and then find a little back bend as you deflect your sword and find one reach forward here. Reaching, and then draw it back to deflect again. Here we'll find that melting over the front leg. Having that front leg be straight-ish for one rounding breath and melting down into the space. Bend the front knee and spin the knife edge of the back foot down onto the mat. Sweep your right fingertips forward and allow that to bring you all the way up, circling into our warrior 2, transitioning into our horse stance. Keep the back foot where it is, diagonal slice. The arms, extending that left leg straight, double block. Immediately lowering down into Skandasana at the back of the mat. But here, lower yourself all the way down onto your butt. So no going back and forth this time around. Slide the extended leg in front of you. Knife edge rooting for a warrior's bridge. Sweep one right arm across the horizon as we bridge up. Just one warrior's bridge here as we lower the hips down. Now setting up for our external dancing dog. Extended heel draws in towards your bum. Lifting the hips to hover, base your right hand. Square off your hips. Big press, left knee to armpit. Extending the right leg, spinning on the knife edge of the right foot. Reach the toes behind you to lower yourself down, seated half squat. Good. Your right leg should be extended, left knee bent. Slide your right leg down and reach your left hand across the mat to let the back foot trail behind you. Beautiful. One dolphin here. Drawing the knees forward, untuck the toes. We'll curl the tailbone down to melt ourselves all the way back down onto the mat. And now a cobra roll to upward facing dog. Draw the knees forward, untuck the toes, curl the tailbone down, ripple yourself all the way up to open across your collarbones, strong to the tops of the feet. Draw your chin into your chest. Big press to cobra hood, ripple yourself back. Down dog, one foot turns over at a time. Lift high to the balls of your feet. Curl your tailbone towards your face as you ripple yourself forward. Rolling wave, so melting the hips down at an angle to find upward facing dog once more. Pierce back strong through the right toes. Draw your right knee into your cobra hood as you press to step the foot down. Slide the back toes in, rooting down through the shin and the knee at that angle so you can base the left hand and slowly sit onto your booties to find ourselves back into our boat, descending in opposite directions. Excellent work, guys. Reaching the arms up and overhead, followed by the legs for our plow. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, release. Finding that fluidity on this opposite side, bending the left knee, left ankle behind the right thigh. Slowly, we scroll ourselves up through our figure four boat, basing down. Left hand bases, shifting our weight forward. Warrior's base, curl the back toes under, slide the knee into the ankle, shifting weight into the right foot. Sword mudra, finding our flamingo to extend. Fingertips forward, toes back, hips square, warrior 3. Drawing everything in to center. Knee up, posture up, shoulders down. Nice proud warrior, straight into our kicking warrior, pointing through the ball of the foot. Demi point, recoil it back in. to step back into this little lunge, to lower down for the knee to hover, for one dynamic kick, in through center, but pausing in that proud warrior. So we can hinge down, back into our warrior 3. Once we get there, the front knee bends, the back toes lower down, drawing the back knee to hover, the sword towards your face, to deflect it off. And then we'll reach forward for one more yummy thing to bring towards our existence, pulling it in and letting it wash over us as we extend the front leg straight. Hands come to either side of the front leg to find one rounding, rippling breath over the right leg. Bend the right knee, root the knife edge of the back foot. Left fingertips sweep forward and circle around and up to find warrior 2, transitioning into our horse stance. Shifting the weight back, extending the right leg straight, knife edge roots, double block. From this position, we lower down all the way into low drop stance, all the way down onto our butts, whatever that looks like for you, reaching for the ground when you need to. Beautiful. It's okay if it's not graceful today. Slide the extended leg into your midline. Base in your 3 points, sweep left fingertips across the horizon to bridge up through those hips to lower ourselves back down. External dancing dog. Draw the back hand in. Extended heel draws in towards your butt. Base your hand, square off your hips. Big press, right knee to right armpit, big circle. Spin the knife edge to root, reach in opposite directions to slowly descend into the seated half squat. Left leg is extended. Slide that left leg down as you reach right fingertips across your mat, letting that back foot trail all the way to our bellies for one dolphin roll here. Knees draw forward and tuck your toes. Ripple yourself and melt back down immediately. Now we draw the knees forward, untuck the toes, ripple up into an upward facing dog. All the way to the top, finding the space to draw our chin into our chest. Big press, rippling back into downward facing dog. Deep breath in. Exhale it out. Lift high to the ball of your feet. Draw your chin to chest, pelvis towards your face as you ripple back forward into your upward facing dog through a rolling wave. Opening it up. Pierce strong through those left toes back. Big press to draw your knee into your chest and step the foot down and slide. Right toes back at an angle to lower down through your shin, through your knee, to base the right hand outside of the right hip, to lower the hips down, descending through our boat, all the way onto our backs, reaching the arms up and overhead, and draw the legs up and over, bending the right knee, bringing the right ankle behind the left. Slowly scroll yourself up through our boat to base now, right shin across your mat. Let this top leg, left leg, reach behind you for a pigeon or an S-seat pigeon. So if you like full-on pigeon, you know that's good for you. You can go there, or you can have like a really wide S-seat, staying flexed through your toes and find some lengthening and stretch here. So wherever you are, wherever you decided to be, tent through your fingertips. Find length through your spine and melt your heart down and ripple yourself back up. Allow these spinal undulations to go deeper into sensation and stay present with your breath. Especially as we find more stillness, how can we stay present when the mind wants to get bored and start thinking of the past or the future. Whenever you're ready to find stillness, by all means, find that spot. You can stack your fists, come down to your forearms, and just melt for some moments in this space. And really ride out your exhales here. So notice where you're clenching on or gripping on in your hip or any part of your body. And see if you can send that breath there energetically to soften around your edge. To surrender into the sensation. Slowly roll yourself up, walk yourself up, and we'll shift our hips off to the right side to swing this left leg around. And let's just switch off from the side. So rather than going back through our boat, we can bring the left shin across the mat and let that right leg swing around. And either for that S-seat variation of pigeon or walking those toes and squaring off our hips down to the mat. And here, take those melting waves of your spine to ripple over this front leg. Whenever you'd like to find your stillness, you can always walk yourself down, stack yourself some fists to relax on, to just be present with what is. And we know that that is a practice in and of itself. Can we allow the breath to anchor us into the sensation? And as soon as we realize the mind kind of wandering off, just arrive back to what is. The constant battle to be present. Let every exhale allow you to sigh deeper into this space. Take one more really deep and juicy, rich breath in. And exhale, melt a little bit deeper into this space. On your next inhale, you can walk yourself slowly up, rocking onto our left hip to swing the right toes around, to lower ourselves through our last boat onto our backs here. So make it count. Maybe you want to find more extension through your legs here as you lower down in opposite directions. Go slower than you're even going during class. Just to really feel all the things Good. And here, allow yourself to be on your mat. You can draw your knees into your chest if you'd like to take any kind of rocking or opening into like a straddle or a happy baby. But if you're ready to just melt down onto your mat, get there and arrive there fully. Taking whatever breaths and or movements that you want to close off your practice. And then truly allowing yourself to find this release, this sense of surrender into your mat. Surrendering to the physical body, releasing any clenching, and surrendering to the mind. Not resisting anything that shows up, but just being present to it. And if your monkey mind is feeling extra strong, wandering into past memories or future imaginations, just try to re-anchor into your breath, to sigh deeper into your being, to relax the nervous system. Soften. And allow these next few breaths to reawaken, to rebirth yourself back into this day. Of course, you can always stay exactly where you are in your Shavasana. But if you'd like to close off your practice with me and get back into your day, you can start to find those wiggly movements in your fingertips and toes. And when you're ready for a bigger awakening, you can reach the arms up overhead for a nice big juicy stretch to stretch through all your bones. And release it down. We'll meet in a seated position with our hands at heart center to bow our brains down towards our fingernails. And it is my hope for us that we can take from this session, this sense of groundedness and this ability to move and act from this place of centeredness, right? Moving and acting from our center of gravity so that we can choose how we show up off the mat. So we can choose to start to actively make decisions and act on them in our lives that are towards that future self. What would, that 3 to 5 year self that we want to become do now to get there? So can we have our attention and intention for how we live our lives off our mat from this point forward be intentional? We're intentionally making and taking action to live our best lives, to be our best selves, to that future self. And with that, let's take our thumbs to our third eye. The light in me honors and acknowledges the light, the warrior, the yogi, and the power within each of you. Us and namaste.